CBS just canceled Stephen Colbert's Late Show 3 days after Stephen criticized Paramount, CBS's parent company, for this. And I need Americans to understand how dangerous this is, whether you're on the right or the left. What some might say in the comments is, oh, it was canceled because no one watched it. That is a lie. These are the ratings that were just published. These are the ratings from Q2. Colbert was smashing both Kimmel and Fallon. And overall, when you look at the talk show programming from 10 o'clock on, Colbert has the second largest show. I want to note, looking at the column on the right here, his show was the only late night show to see growth in the Q2 viewership over Q1. The co-CEO and president of CBS, George Cheeks, says the decision was made out of consideration for the financial expenses associated with the program. He said, quote, "It's not related in any way to the show's performance, content, or other matters happening at Paramount. So what is this about?" If you ask me, it might have something to do with the fact that Paramount just paid $16 million to the Trump administration as a settlement for a case that they would have won in court. To do with an edit of a 60 Minutes interview for Kamala Harris, Trump called it election interference and the biggest scandal in broadcast history, demanded $10 billion in damages, which his lawyers then said should be $20 billion. They got a $16 million pat on the head, and his lawyers are claiming this to be a great victory. See, the thing is, legal experts all considered this to be frivolous and said Paramount would have won in court. The FCC was pressuring CBS, so last winter CBS released the tapes and the transcript and the raw materials and showed the editing was normal. There was nothing crazy going on here. Why did this happen? CBS for months has been trying to complete a merger with Skydance Media. CBS has local stations that are licensed by the government, so the Trump administration has to sign off on this. Paramount said, quote, "This lawsuit is completely separate from and unrelated to the Skydance transaction and the FCC approval process." Someone with a brain understood that this whole thing would have come up as the FCC was going through this process. Not only did they bend the knee with the payout, then Stephen Colbert goes on TV and criticizes Paramount, and then 3 days later, they announced that his well-performing show is being canceled. This is dangerous. This is a freedom of speech issue, and I wasn't even the biggest fan of what Colbert was doing on CBS. I think he was largely defanged there. I grew up watching Jon Stewart on The Daily Show and Stephen Colbert on The Colbert Report. This was some of the best comedy I've ever seen in my life. Satire was biting, it was absolutely perfect, and I feel he had to very much tone himself down for CBS. My hope is this is a blessing in disguise and he comes back with a vengeance and a new zeal. We need everyone to understand how obvious what happened here actually is.